Ooh, haha. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to my Once Upon a Time discussion of everything Once Upon a Time, powered by Insticator. For everyone tuning in on YouTube, always make sure to check out the Insticator website. Fans for fans, TV for TV. So check them out; they're awesome. So I am here to discuss another concept of Once Upon a Time, or another character. Last week was discussion of the Wicked Witch of the West. This week is her mother, the Queen of Hearts, Cora. For everyone who is tuning in, make sure to check me out on Twitter. I put a link in the description there. And also to leave a comment or throw a chat in the Instigator box because that'll be great too. I can keep up with them, having you guys talk and discuss with me the episode or the show or anything about the show would be awesome. That's great. So fan involvement is definitely a must. It helps make this a much more engaging and fun discussion. So, as to start off, let's get right into Cora Mills, or Queen of Hearts. Technically, Cora Mills was her last name. Regina gave her after she died. Spoiler: she died. If you haven't seen any of Once Upon a Time. So, let's start with the backstory. We learn in episode two, or we learn in season two, episode 16, The Miller's Daughter, that Cora, who was played by Rose McGowan, was daughter of a miller, and he was drunk, I guess. He liked the sauce, and Cora did not like that, and she always wanted to do better. She wanted to have, royalty. She wanted to, move up in society, which is what anyone really wants to do, is to be able to move up. And from this episode, actually, let me backtrack even more. Before that, in season three, episode 18, we go a little before the Miller's Daughter. And in that episode, Cora's working at a bar, and she meets this man named Jonathan, who claims to be a prince. Now, Cora always wanted to be royalty. That's further emphasized in the episode I was talking about, being the Miller's daughter. So, with Jonathan, he tricks her into, having sex, and she gets pregnant from it. And he tells her that she will marry him, or that he'll marry her. Then he says in 2 months I'm gonna come back, and he comes back in 2 months, and he says no. He says I don't want anything to do with you, and it's upsetting for her. He kind of attacks her, and like he grabs her arm, and she's like help, help, help. But it's the olden days, so anyway. So Cora, from that alone, is devastated, and now she's pregnant with the baby, and it impedes her goal of being able to become a royal. So what happens after she even gives birth is she meets King Leopold. Now, King Leopold in Once Upon a Time's universe is Snow White's father, and she was going to marry him. She taught her. Yeah, Leopold was taught by Cora. That's the best way to say that. Leopold was taught by Cora how to, build a fire, and he was so impressed that a peasant could do that. He ended up spending time with her, and he sort of fell in love with her. Now, Leopold was presumed to marry Ava, but he wanted to marry Cora. And Ava, Snow White's mother, finds out that Cora is pregnant with Jonathan's baby, and tells Leopold that. Now, following Leopold being told, he pretty much says, "Cora, go away. I don't want to deal with you anymore. We're done." So Cora, after getting not banished, but her wedding gets called off. But that also fuels her rivalry with Ava, because Ava refused to let Cora win. So now we skip ahead, and the baby's born. Baby goes away by a cyclone in Oz, and like I said, that's a whole other discussion and a whole other set of issues being Zelina. So, but I'm not gonna name Zelina because I did that already. So then Cora, goes back to being in the mills, and she goes to give Laura to King Xavier, who has another son. Now, it's kind of like a weird little twist, because apparently Ava was going to either marry Regina's father, who is King Xavier's son, or Prince Leopold. So it's like, I never actually caught that till I just said it, but I guess she had a choice between the two princes. King Xavier's son is named Henry, which is also where the name Henry of the main character comes from. So Henry, ends up liking Cora, and Cora goes into. Excuse me, that's a lie. What happened before that is Cora gets tricked by Ava, and now Ava knew who Cora was from the whole interaction with Leopold, and it further fuels Cora's vendetta to stop Ava, because you know Ava just won't let up on Cora. Like, even she already was miserable, right? She's literally miserable from having her engagement broken off. Her one shot at becoming a royal at that point was wrecked, and then all of a sudden, she's just trying to do her job, and of course Ava has to trip her, and then she has to bow before Ava and apologize, which she did not want to do in the slightest. So we'll skip ahead a couple minutes of the episode, and we find out, or we see Cora, sneak into a ball, and the king tells her, you're weak of the mill, you're not worthy of being here. So, like, everyone is just talking down to her. And, a big thing in real life, which makes Cora actually a relatable villain, even though as it further progresses, she becomes pretty much consumed by her own power, is she's being told what she can't do. And because of that, it strives her to, actually want to do things, prove them otherwise. And, the king tells her, she says, I'll spin straw into gold. And spinning straw into gold, this is a reference to the Rumpelstiltskin fairy tale. And he says, fine, if you do it, you can marry my son. If you don't do it, I'm going to kill you. That's always fun. So following that, she's in the tower, and she's considering jumping, and Rumpelstiltskin then, appears, and, he shows her how to spin the straw into gold because she wants to learn magic. And, she does it. And following being able to actually learn how to do it, she gets to marry Xavier, or no, Henry. She gets to marry Prince Henry. And she's still in love with Rumpelstiltskin, or love with him, but it is known to be love. So either way, Rumpelstiltskin and her have this on-off relationship. And Cora realizes from her father-in-law that love is weakness. That's where the phrase that was emphasized in season 2 and 1 came from. It came from Cora's father-in-law, the king. And he said to her, love is weakness, like, become a princess. It's the closest you'll ever get. Like, don't run off of Rumpelstiltskin. And, she did. And Cora could still learn her magic. And the end of her past in The Miller's Daughter was she ripped out her own heart so that way she couldn't even feel love anymore. Or a lack of love, I guess would be the proper term for that. So she loses a lot. She loses kind of her humanity to keep her powers. Now that way she can be a witch and she can be a princess. And it skips a couple years, and we'll skip down, and now she has Regina. And she and Ava, we never actually know, like, if they interact within the years of Regina being born to when Snow White is around 10 years old, and that's when Queen Ava at that point dies. So Regina, no, not Regina, Cora. Cora wants to become, Cora always wanted to be queen, but she couldn't be queen of Xavier's kingdom. So she's going to make her daughter a queen. She marries into royalty, and she needs to get a spot open. So what does she do? She kills her rival being Snow White's mother. Now, we don't realize that, or the characters don't realize that until episode 15 of season 2, and that's when, like, all the pieces really come together, that Cora is the one who pretty much, like, catalyzed the events of season 1, just because she was the one that put Regina on the throne. That's how that happened. That's how that worked. So she kills Ava, and she tells Ava she's going to turn Snow White's heart black as coal, and that was her vendetta against Snow White, or against Ava's whole family. She pretty much wants to destroy that bloodline in any way that she can. And after that, we'll skip a little bit more, and she killed Ava. Excuse me. So Ava's dead, and what happens? We'll skip maybe, but not even a month. And Leopold is looking for a new wife, and he meets Regina, and that's where that happened. That's how Regina becomes Snow White's mother or stepmother. She saves her, and then Leopold asks her to marry him, and she unwillingly accepts because Cora kills Daniel, and Daniel was her lover, the stable boy. Now, and he was killed in season 1, episode 17. Yes, I am a relative encyclopedia of episode titles and episode numbers. I like to cite my sources. So, anyway, Cora kills him, And Snow White then tells Regina that she told Cora, and that also set off Regina's vendetta against Snow White. And Regina's discussion will be broken up, by the way, as the Evil Queen and Regina Mills, because even though they're the same character, past and present, they're two separate entities, I feel. So it's needed two separate discussions. Actually, I could probably do a Regina season 1, season 2, and season 3, and season 4, but that's a lot. Either way, Cora then catalyzed Regina to even turn evil. So that's like a big thing. Like, she really put Regina on the throne, and then it even made Regina turn evil. So like everything in Regina's life up until when Henry gets taken, pretty much, was emphasized via Cora. It was all done through her. Like, everything in Regina's life was really done through Cora. So, Regina banishes her mother to Wonderland because she wants her mother to not be around. She doesn't want anything to do with her. And then her mother's in Wonderland. And then there's also a little weird side story where her mother somehow takes her father and shrinks him, put him in a box. That was never expressed why. There's also another story where Rumpelstiltskin and Cora once got into a big battle, and Rumple was able to beat her, but just barely. We never ever got to see a fight like that, and with them cutting Barbara Hershey's character pretty much from the show as she died, that will never come up again, which is kind of a bummer because it was like once a really big thing. Because in season 2, right around the episode when Cora was supposed to die, there was a big thing going on where it said one will live while the other will die, and it was Rumple versus Cora. And now personally, I thought it was going to be Rumple because Cora was more of a threat and Rumpelstiltskin was kind of in the background at that point. And to see Cora die, it kind of shocked me, actually. I didn't expect her to die because I felt there was a bit more they could have done with her. Because Rumpelstiltskin, as we know, in season 1, was in almost every episode, and he was in every episode leading up to season 2, episode 16. So it was just like, really, they killed off Cora? Like, I would have preferred to have Cora been around for a little bit longer. If anyone agrees or disagrees, please let me know in the comments or in the chat over here. And thank you, Maggie, or Passenger. I'm not sure who was who, but I'm trying to be as thorough as I can to keep these as entertaining and as correct as I can. So what we have here is now Regina is about to cast a dark curse, and she says the only way to stop it, or to like have someone stop her doing it, is the person she loves most, which is her mother. And so she sends Captain Hook to get Cora. And Hook didn't know what the dark curse was going to do. And so pretty much by following in or listening to Cora, he avoids the dark curse. They're frozen for 28 years. And then there's a whole big thing in Storybrooke where the dark curse breaks. That's a big plot of season 1. And Cora and Hook unfreeze, and Emma and Mary Margaret get sent into the Enchanted Forest of the past. So as they are sent into the Enchanted Forest of the past, that's season 3, episode 21 and 22. As they get sent into the present day Enchanted Forest, they run into Cora, and there's a whole battle going on. Like episode 9 of season 2, Queen of Hearts, is when we see Cora fight Mulan and Snow White and head on, which was pretty cool. At the end of that was the mid-season finale at that point. If anyone who watched the show live in 2012, I believe, excuse me, that was a fucking eye. Anyone who watched it live in 2012, you'll remember they aired episodes 1 through 9, and then they had a little break, and then following that break, they had like it was like 2 week off, 2 week off. It was like a really weird airing spectrum. I didn't like it myself. But that's a side story. Anyway, so Cora comes to Storybrooke, and her purpose in Storybrooke is to, at first she wanted to get revenge on Regina, and then she wanted to help her. She wanted to help her daughter out. And what was pretty cool to me was just Barbara Hershey. She's a great actress, and this is the only thing I've actually ever seen Barbara Hershey in I saw her in a horror movie that I am forgetting the name of. I think it was Insidious. Pretty sure it was Insidious. But anyway, I think Barbara Hershey's a really great actress, and she definitely pulled off, the Queen of Hearts really well. And Rose McGowan, might I add, also pulled off being, young Cora really well as well, or as much. So my point being, after pretty much, Regina is kind of broken at this point in the show. she did. Emma and Mary Margaret got back from the Enchanted Forest, and everyone is like, Emma and Mary Margaret, we love you, but no one's like, Regina, we still like, because they still view her as evil. Like Regina, her development as becoming evil or good hasn't changed. You haven't seen Beaches? What's Beaches? Please tell me Beaches is Passenger. I don't know what that is. I haven't seen it, so please tell me. So, Regina is then, she's broken, like I said, twice. And that was an episode title, too. That was episode 1 of season 2. Anyway, Cora is now manipulating Regina. She said, we'll get rid of Emma, we'll get rid of Mary Margaret, we'll get rid of Rumpelstiltskin, we'll get the dagger, and then at the end, we will have Henry, and you'll be happy. And Cora's overall vendetta, her loyalty was to power because her heart was pulled out of her chest, and she couldn't really love anymore. And all she wanted was power. When Hook poisoned Rumpelstiltskin, she realized that she would have to stab him with the dagger. And once he was stabbed with the dagger, she would then become the New Dark One. And that's something that Regina at first didn't think would be a good thing because, the Dark One? Oh, thank you, Passenger, for letting me know what Beaches was. I've never seen that, but I will definitely make an attempt to see it. I think Barbara Hershey's a really good actress, so seeing her Once Upon a Time, particularly, was fantastic. So to see her older work, I would love to see that. So thank you for letting me know about what Beaches is. So to kind of get into the ending of Cora's life, with that, Cora is now, autumn indebted to become the Dark One. Now, in The Miller's Daughter, which I talked about in the beginning of the show, I did Cora's, her history, her history, and following her history, we get what's going on in present day. Now, they are trying to kill Rumpelstiltskin with the dagger because they got it in episode 15, and that's when everything, came to the roof where they found out that Regina was put on the throne because Cora killed Queen Ava. So now they're in Storybrooke and they're trying to protect. Everyone's in Storybrooke. Now Rumple is in danger because he's getting poisoned by Hook, and they have to protect him. They being Emma and Mary Margaret and David. And pretty much what goes on to this is there's a little battle. Regina fights Emma for like 10 seconds. And, if you think about it in a funny way, Regina and Emma have really gone at it head to head. At one point, Regina really did try to kill her being in this episode. And then it's like Emma just gets over it, which is a good thing. I'm glad they got over it. Bygones being bygones and whatnot. But they definitely have gone through a lot of stuff for their relationship. It's definitely not a normal one. So it comes to the point where Mary Margaret is told by Rumpelstiltskin that Cora's heart is in Regina's vault, and Rumpelstiltskin tells her to get the candle, the double-sided candle, and you can save his life and take rid of Cora's. Take rid of, that's not a word. Get rid of Cora's. So Rumpelstiltskin, tells her that, and Mary Margaret goes and gets it. She gets the heart, and she, gets the candle, and she blows the two ends out. And she then gives the candle to Regina. It's like, wow. So Regina is then given the heart, and just as Cora is about to kill Rumpelstiltskin, she puts the heart in her chest, in Cora's chest. And Cora, she dies. And it was just like a really like, wow. Can you believe that Cora just got killed by her own heart, by Snow White, in theory, or technically. And, Snow White killed someone. Snow White's a murderer. In episode 11 or 10 of 4, I believe it was 11, Snow White is talking to Anna, and Anna goes, yeah, Snow White's a murderer. I killed the evil queen's mummy. And I just thought, that's great. So in the end, Cora dies. And Regina wants to get revenge on Snow White for like 3 more episodes following that, but eventually she lets that go as Regina herself gets tortured by Neil and Tamara. Now, just to quickly talk about the Cora's original plot was to have Snow White's heart become blackened. And in the end, she did that. Even though Cora didn't live to see this, Snow White's murder of Cora, it made her heart become dark. So I mean, I'm assuming that Snow's heart's okay at this point, especially since it's cut in half and in her body and in Charming's. I mean, I can't really, decide what would be going on there. But my point being, Snow's heart became black for a little while, and so Cora kind of got a little bit of a victory, but then it ended, because I'm assuming her heart's back normal. So Cora, that's pretty much the life and story of Cora Mills. She's a villain who I actually really enjoyed on the show. She definitely was one who, you got the whole backstory and you could like. I mean, Zelina, as we talked about, like she was just jealous because that was her thing. She was wickedly jealous all the time. With Cora, it's like she was beaten down at least twice, and she did everything she could to never be beaten down again. And I actually think she's a really good villain. She's a villain I love to hate, in all honesty. She wasn't my favorite character on Once Upon a Time by far. However, she's one of my favorite villains. She's much better than Peter Pan will ever be, but I think everyone loves Pan. And I think Cora's just a really cool character overall. And I actually was really upset when she died. I really hoped it was Rumpelstiltskin that was going to get killed. And, he's still kicking. Now, another thing I had wanted to say that I didn't get to say last week about Zelina was Zelina's whole purpose was to take everything away from Regina. Now, just to quickly recap this, after Rumpelstiltskin killed Zelina, Zelina's heart or her power opened up a time portal which sent Emma into the past, and then Emma inadvertently made Marion back, which then took away Robin Hood from Regina. So now she didn't take away everything from her, but Zelina's, even in death, had a victory because Regina still doesn't have Robin Hood, and she took away pretty much the most important person in her life besides Henry. So just to add on to that, Zelina has the longest standing victory of all the villains too, because Regina's still miserable because she took away something from Regina, and Regina still doesn't have it, being Robin Hood. So Cora and Zelina, both have victories that are past their deaths, and I thought that one of the kind of interesting things the showrunners were able to do with these two characters. Now, another fun thing about Regina, Cora, and Zelina is all their names end in A. That could have been on purpose, or I'm assuming it was on purpose because the writers are picking the characters' names, but I think it's just funny that Cora, Regina, Zelina, Emma all end in A. Just a fun little tidbit about what's fun time. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much Cora's story in a nutshell. She was in, as Barbara Hershey, she was in season 1 and season 2. Rose McGowan played her in just one episode of season 3 and one episode of season 2. And I think seeing Rose McGowan as Barbara Hershey or as Cora was a really cool idea, just because I think that Cora, played by her, worked really well. I mean, Rose McGowan played a good witch and Charmed, and to have her play a witch again was another really cool thing. Actually, I think it'd be really cool if we could maybe ever see Alyssa Milano or maybe Holly Combs or even Eva Chandorty make some type of weird appearance on Once Upon a Time. If anyone thinks about that, let me know in the comments or the chat, please. I think it'd be cool to see them again as witches. So yeah, anyone have a question or a comment about the show? I'm here for another 4 or 5 minutes, so please let me know. I'm glad to discuss it. Green. I believe it means green in Arabic. I'm not 100% positive if it does mean what language it's from, but I'm 90% sure it means green in Arabic. So I'll have to double check it because I'm not 100% positive. I'll look it up for you right now. I think it does. Yes, it does. Yes, Selena does mean green. Very good. Very good call. So I really hope you guys are enjoying these live chats about Once Upon a Time. I enjoy talking about them as often as I can. I think this is a great show, and it has so much continuity, so much value to it that you can't help but like it. Should viewers pity Cora? Thank you, Passenger, for another question. Should viewers pity Cora? I would say yes. Yes, she's more pitiful than Zelina ever was. However, Cora in the end could have. Okay, I got two questions now. Should viewers pity Cora? And Jennifer has asked, was I angry at Snow White for killing Cora? I wasn't angry at Snow White for killing Cora. I knew that Snow White in the end would be the one to do it. It either would have been Snow White or Emma. Just from the way the episode was playing, I knew that Cora was going to be the one to die, and it bothered me. I wasn't angry at Snow White for doing it. I was more so angry at the writers for cutting her out. So yeah, I knew Snow would be the one to do it, pretty much. But it's okay that she did it, I guess. Or it's okay that it was her character. I was more so angry they cut her out. That's how I feel. And back to thinking about pitying her, I would pity her more so when she was a peasant. But after she ripped out her own heart and pretty much like gave up on love, I would say she's not so more pitiful. She's more so a power-hungry woman, a power-hungry witch who will do everything that she can to rule or to get what she wants, because she never wants to bow again, or never wanted to bow again before Charming or before Snow White or Emma. That was her big thing. She just refused to do that. She didn't want to have to deal with. She didn't want to have to deal with the idea of being subjugated. It was just something that was wrong to her. She never wanted that. So I hope everyone enjoyed this chat. I will be back next week with another chat, of course, for Once Upon a Time. And as the show is coming back in a month from tomorrow, a month. Let's just go with a month. The show's come back March 31st. March 1st. The show's come back March 1st. I will have a lot of other topics to discuss, being Regina, Rumpelstiltskin, Ingrid. I'm also thinking maybe doing one on Elsa and Anna just to recap the Frozen, and then also do a quick recap and prediction one of what will be happening in season 4, part 2. So for anyone who wants to have a discussion or let me know who to discuss next, shoot me a tweet at other Robert, OTHEROBERT, and I will I'll get back to you, and I'll definitely talk about them, because there's so many characters to discuss that it's definitely something to do. So please, anyone who wants to discuss the show, let me know. Thank you for everyone who tuned in, who wanted to talk to me about it. I really appreciate it on Instigator, and thank you. And again, always make sure to check instigator.com out. There's a link in my description for it. And I will be back for another Once Upon a Time review next Thursday at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys for all watching. One thing I wish that I could do with a live review is incorporate some clips or edit out some of my stammering. And I hope see, I even did it right there. I hope you all don't mind the stammering. It's just sometimes there's so much to talk about that I can't help it. But thank you guys again, and 6 o'clock next Thursday. Bye.